Hey, what's happening, you guys? Credit D Will here from Sweetwater. Welcome to the channel and thank you all for tuning in. Yo, in today's video, we are going to be checking out the new DLZ Creator XS from Mackie. I got a product specialist that's going to come into the studio and he's just going to tell us about all the new updated features in this mixer. If you guys want to check out the DLZ Creator XS or the DLZ Creator, then make sure you hit up the links in the descriptions. They'll take you directly to our website where you can find all the products there. Y'all already know what's up. Let's dive in and let's get creative.
Hi, my name is Matt Herrin. I'm a product manager at Mackie. I'm actually the digital mixer product manager. And we're here today to talk about the DLZ Creator series and actually the expansion to the series, the DLZ Creator XS, the little guy.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into it.
Yeah. So what's really cool about DLZ Creator is I think the thing that makes it stand out compared to anything else in the market mostly is the fact that we've got these 3 different distinct control modes in one package. I think that's the thing that makes it the coolest. And what's really neat is DLZ Creator lives inside DLZ XS. So all of the processing, all the power, including our control modes, audio assistant, automatic gain setting, automatic mixing, recording, so SD, USB recording, all of it lives inside. It's just in a little bit smaller form factor. So let's kind of dive through the differences, right?
Awesome.
So I think a lot of folks have been familiar with the DLZ Creator, but let's talk about what's different with the little guy. Let's go back to our main.
I know we actually did a video on the big boy over there, the DLZ Creator, so
excellent.
I'm excited for this one, man.
Yeah, let's talk about the differences. Okay, so obviously a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
So that means a smaller screen. So we go from a 10-inch screen to a 7-inch screen. Still best in class, larger than anybody else. So that's always great. Lots of visual feedback, because again, a big part of this project is to spend less time diving into menus. So we want everything to be at the top level. Inputs and outputs do change as well. So we have 2 less microphone preamps, so a little bit less input, and then we have 2 less headphone outs, so a little bit less output. But don't despair, it's still a 14x4 USB interface, so it's the same number of I/O as the big guy. We just added a digital channel to make up for those, stereo channel to make up for those 2 mic pre's you lose there. Right? So it's all still there. So you still have a full interface, same as you have with the big guy. You still have direct-to-disc recording, direct-to-USB or SD recording. We have 6 sample pads on both. You have 2 rows here on the little guy instead of 1 long row here. Physical control changes a little bit too. So you have 5 rotary encoders up here next to the screen on the DLZ Creator. XS, we switched to 4 rotary encoders. Okay. Just a little bit smaller. And really what that does is it's just like a little bit of a bonus control that you lose, but most of your mainline control is still rotary encoders, and they're context dependent here as well as they are on the big guy. So when you jump into an EQ, you still have full control of that EQ right here on these encoders, or you can touch the screen. The thing that you lose here, like in the EQ, is you lose the choosing which node, right? So you have to touch the node that you want to control on the screen. But that's not a huge loss.
I kind of like that. I kind of like that better because most of the time I'm actually touching it and choosing the node myself anyway. So
yeah. So you can touch either way, and the real, and like I said, that's a small compromise for a much smaller form factor.
Yeah,
definitely worth it. Now, also you'll probably notice we've got faders on the big guy, and now with this we've switched to the rotary encoders, or the potentiometers here per channel. Now that's a Mackie tradition. So if you look at any of our analog mixer lineups, you look at Onyx, you look at Pro Effects, any of those guys, when we get into our smaller mixers, we always throw these potentiometers, these rotary potentiometers on instead of the long throw faders. The main reason for that is it's a lot smaller, it's more compact, and it's easier when you're talking about these smaller form factors. You still have mute solo per channel, so that all stays the same. Inside the system, again, inside the mixer, everything is the same. You still get auto mix, but you're just choosing between 2 channels instead of 4. Okay. Right, so that's going to be a little bit different there. But otherwise, you still have multi-track recording. Now I'd like to talk about what we have that's new in this product, that's upcoming. So all of these features that I'm going to talk about here will actually be backfilled into our DLZ Creator here in the next couple weeks.
Oh wow, so we're getting a sneak peek.
Yeah, sneak peek. It's really exciting.
That's what I like.
Yeah, so let's talk about it. So a lot of folks really liked our sample banks, and having 4 sample banks of 6 sample pads is great. Yeah. But the first thing that we've done is we've gone ahead and we've gone to the pad section. You can see there are now 8 banks. So that doubles the number of sample pads you had before. Yeah. Right? That's really awesome. And diving into a sample pad as well, you can see here we still have your sample control. You have your play, stop, play, pause. What we've done is we've added looping as its own toggle. So now it's no longer just you have to choose looping with your retrigger or with your play, pause. It's actually you can just choose whichever ones you want to loop. It's really convenient. We've also added control pads. That was a huge ask, is that people wanted to be able to use the pads to control features on the mixer. Yes. So what we did is we brought sensor out, right? So sensor has been a long-standing favorite. You can beep out those swear words. Right. That's in there. Mute groups is is nice as well. So this allows you to take a group of channels. So let's say you wanted both of your mic preamps and you wanted your 910 return to all mute with one button. You can do that now.
Oh, wow.
So you don't have to, go and mute each individual channel. You can just mute all of them, or mute all your local inputs if you're running live, that sort of thing. Locals only, this is kind of a cool feature. So if you and I were doing a podcast and we were both plugged into this mixer, I could put locals only, set it up, and when I engage the locals only, we hear each other, but no one else does.
Oh, wow.
So you and I can talk, we can say like, hey man, we're gonna end 5 minutes early because we have that new sponsor, right? So it helps you have those quick conversations without it going live over the stream.
So will we be the only ones that hear that, like in our headphones?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it allows us to have like kind of an intercom or actually a conversation before we go into a stream or before we start recording without it actually going to our end destination.
So I could be like, hey, wrap up really quick because we...
Certainly,
That's
yeah,
dope. That's
absolutely.
dope.
Intercom, that works very similar to locals only, but sometimes you need a connection. So let's say we have, our friend Dave, he's gonna call in and he's on our cell phone. So what we'd wanna do is we wanna create a connection between us and Dave, and we can do that right here. So then when we push this button down, now we're talking to Dave, but no one else can hear us.
Oh, wow.
So we can tell Dave what's going on, we can tell him how long our show is today, but that's not gonna go out over our network. Fades as well. This is a pretty common feature, right? You want to be able to fade in and fade out your music. And then we have a little toggle here where you can exclude channel 1 from that. So if you're the host and you've got, audio coming in and out, your voice stays at the level you want it.
So you can fade
without
everybody.
the audio. Yeah, everybody else, but not you.
That's cool. I like
And
that.
then ducking as well. We had ducking in the DLZ Creator for a while, but it was in the settings menu. It was a little hard to find. So elevating it up into this control pad is going to make it a lot easier for people to find and utilize. So auto ducking, you've probably used that here and there, but the main benefit of auto ducking is if you have a host and you have background music or you have game music, when you speak, the auto ducker will pull down that background music so that way you can be heard over it, right? So you don't want to have Red Den louder than what you want to tell your fans or your audience.
Yeah.
Especially if you're trying to make money and monetize, through the wall, right? The chat wall. You need to be responding, and they need to be able to hear what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Finally, let's talk about effects, right? Who doesn't love effects?
The fun stuff.
Yeah, let's talk about effects, right? So we've got effects, right? So again, any of these pads can be set to either toggle or hold. So you can either have them, just as a momentary, or have it activate when you push it in. So again, hold. I have to hold it down to get it to activate, but when I let go, it releases. Toggles it on and off, which should make sense. You push the button, it toggles it on, toggles it off.
Yeah.
So again, we have reverb and delay. So this is in addition to the internal reverb and delay. So we didn't lose that. So you still have your analog mixer style. You can send a reverb to the processor and have it return back out. But in the sample pad, we can go in and we can just send channel 1 to a reverb. So if you wanted to be hello in TV land, you can just have it engage and then disengage it just for channel 1. We have delay. So again, this is another copy of those same effects. So it's in addition to the internal effects. Telephone vocal, this is a fun one, right? It allows you to create a little bit different sound. I will use this to kind of just slightly change my voice. It just kind of creates a little bit of that frequency change and just kind of gets you a little bit different content. You can toggle that on and off, and then you just have an intensity control here. And then finally, we have voice effects. So these are I think these are the fun ones. These are the ones that people expect. So this is your pitch shifter, right? So this will allow you to pitch your voice up or down. I'll be honest, I use this a lot of times when I'm streaming my D&D game. So my players meet a dragon, I'm dragging that thing down and my voice is down here, or they're meeting a crazy, pixie fairy, I'll crank it up. So it's a lot of fun, get to play with your voice. I know a lot of people who do, the good work, stopping the scammers. They'll oftentimes hide their voice or modify their voice. So if you are, one of those people that, you need a situation where you need to make your voice not sound the way it normally does, this is great. Pitch shifter is a great option. We also have voice disguise. So this is your classic, you're trying to, this is the Dateline. They got the person behind the shadow. You don't want to hear what their voice actually sounds like because they're a whistleblower for the government, right? This is your voice disguise. This is going to give you that, just really kind of bury your voice and make it so it's a little bit less distinguishable. And then finally, robot, everyone loves a little bit of robot voice. We got a small, medium, large robot. They're kind of fun, and they just give you a little bit more flexibility as far as just fun voice effects, right? Because again, podcasting is you can use your voice, but sometimes it's nice to have these little bit of fun voice features built in as well.
Awesome. So you said this software upgrade is going to be coming to the DLZ Creator.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's the cool thing. So I will say, as we stated before, the neat part is all of this is the same platform. So all of our firmware will work for both. One firmware firmware to rule them all.
Okay, gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll get the new firmware. The day one patch for this will update the DLZ Creator. So how cool is that, right? So anyone who has the DLZ Creator can get all of the XS features as soon as the day one patch launches. So
wow.
we're
That'd be
super
awesome.
we're super excited.
So I got one question for you, and a lot of people probably don't know about this feature because I know it came out as an update. When I originally did the video, it didn't have the NDI feature in it.
Yeah.
Can you kind of explain exactly what the NDI? Because I think that is a very powerful, unique feature about these units, man. Can you kind of
Absolutely, yeah. Let's talk about NDI. So something that we did in our 1.11 update for the DLZ creators, we added stereo NDI.
Yes.
So that's bidirectional stereo NDI. You would access that through your recording routing screen, so similar to your USB connections, all that. So this is very similar. So we actually have 3 different NDI output modes, right? So you can turn it off because you may not want to be putting your audio onto the NDI network for someone to steal, right? So we can turn it off, and that way, when we are connected to our NDI network, no one else is hearing what's going through the mixer. We can turn it on mono. So what this will do is it'll take all of the channels that are in the mixer and mono sum them as a single source. But we also offer stereo. So this is just a copy of your main mix is going to be sent out over the network to your NDI sources. So whether that's OBS, you're running an NDI plugin in OBS, or maybe you're running it into Premiere, for example. There's a plugin from Premiere as well. Or what's really neat as well is NDI even offers VST3 plugins. So if your DAW supports VST3, you can bring your audio right from the mixer into your DAW or out again.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that. That is awesome. That is really awesome.
Yeah, and all the NDI tools are available for free, which is kind of a neat thing compared to some of the other audio over Ethernet solutions out there. Sometimes they cost money, right? Whether it's to the end user, the folks that are out buying these products, or to the company that's making the mixer or making the product. So definitely, it's really neat, and the NDI tools are available right now for free. You can download them. So again, with our implementation, a few other choices we have in here. You can rename the mixer. So again, with NDI, it's much easier than something like Dante because all of the names get broadcast on the network. So I can see my DLZ Creator XS. I can name it DLZ Creator XS 1 or 2 if I have multiples on the network. So again, you can rename that so it makes it easy to be discovered on the network. And then finally, we can choose an NDI source. So what else is really cool about this is it's bidirectional. So I can grab any stereo NDI source off the network. So for example, if you had an NDI camera in another room, I could then access that NDI camera's audio and feed that into my mixer.
Wow, that is pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
This is some next level stuff, man.
Yeah, we're super excited. I mean, I will be honest with you, it is really neat to see some of these features as they're being implemented as we get going. Now, one last thing on NDI I think it was worth touching on is something that we added to our headphone mixes, which is kind of cool, is obviously these are your headphone mixes and it allows you to create a mix that's independent of your main mix, right? So we have a custom mode, right? So I can pick my own custom mix from the ground up. I can say I want to include those 2 channels and maybe I want to include my sample pads and we'll bring the caller in, right? So this is a custom mix from the main mix that is sent out to the headphone. Now what's kind of cool is we have for a while had the ability to send out that mix over USB. So now I can have an alternate mix out USB. So most commonly what people use that for is they'll have one stream to YouTube without music because they don't want to get flagged.
Yeah.
And one stream to Twitch with music because Twitch has made it,
that's
they said
pretty
as long
cool.
as it's game music, it's okay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. So you're not going to get demonetized on YouTube, but you still get all of the cool audio and your background music in your Twitch stream.
I didn't know that.
Yes, it's really cool. So this is the thing I wanted to tell you about. So in our update, we're also going to have that ability to send that to NDI.
Oh, wow.
So now, if you don't want to send your main mix, maybe your main mix is for our monitors and maybe it's for our stream, but it's not what we want to send out over NDI, we can have a different mix sent over NDI independent from our main mix.
Well,
just
that
by
is
sending the
really
toggle.
cool. Yeah.
And again, it's either or, so I could send that to USB and NDI. One thing to note is it will gray out the feature on the other headphone mixes.
So you can't, okay.
You can only do one.
Yeah.
But I can do 3, 4 there, and I can do NDI here. Which is kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
So that was the last thing that I thought would be worth kind of pointing out is not only do we have NDI, a copy of the main mix sent out over NDI, but you can create a completely custom mix over NDI as well.
Okay. Yeah, man, that's pretty cool, man. I absolutely love the NDI feature, and I cannot wait to see what this looks like on the desk here, man. Super cool. Oh, one last thing.
Yeah.
When I walked in and you were doing your office hours with all the sales reps, you were doing something pretty cool with the XS. You were actually, there's an Easter egg
Oh, you want me to show the Easter egg?
Yes, so if you guys
Okay.
made it to the end of this video, then y'all get to see the Easter egg
right.
of how you access it.
All
on
right.
here. Yeah.
So here's the magic. Here we
Yes.
go. All right. So navigating to settings, we do have an Easter egg in here. This is something that we built into the system and we actually hid from our end users for quite some time. We waited for someone to find it. Someone recently found it, so I've decided it's okay to share. So if you navigate to the settings pad and you go to the About page, you see this little white DLZ creator logo here?
Yeah.
You tap that bad boy 7 times. We're going to do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maybe it's 8. But
7 to 8, you gotta tap it.
check this out.
Yeah.
But you tap it several times here, and what this will do is this brings up Pong, and Pong's fun. It's a great way.
so cool.
It's a great way to kill time, right?
Yeah.
So you can get started, and basically you can use this controller. I can use this controller, and we can play Pong in real time with each other.
So quick question, is
Yeah.
this in the DLZ, the big board, the DLZ creator?
Of course it is. Sir.
Oh, okay.
So we've got this here as well.
You guys are awesome, man.
Yeah.
That is a cool little unique feature. I saw this,
Yeah.
I was like, yo, is he playing ping pong on? Yo, that is cool.
Yeah.
Matt, man, I appreciate you coming out, bro, showing me all the new features of the XS. I'm excited for this, man. I think it's gonna be amazing to all our customers. So thank you, bro.
Thank you.
Awesome.